Ruth Maria and welcome to SC Global News. From the disturbing news of centuries-old graves being vandalized at Bedford Church Cemetery to the children in war-torn Ukraine returning to in-person classrooms for the first time in 3 years, we have many stories to cover. In Bedford, England, graves dating back more than 200 years came under attack for the second time in weeks. The parish priest called the act shocking and distressing but urged the community to respond with faith and forgiveness. Police have stepped up patrols while church members consider new security measures to protect the historic site. Centuries-old burial sites at the Church of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and St. Cuthbert in Bedford came under attack again on Monday night, Christian News reported. The historic graveyard, in use for more than 200 years, came under attack for the second time in weeks, Parish News reported. Signs that heavy tools have been used in the attack. Father Thomas Mazirias described the incident as deeply distressing, calling it a profanation of holy ground. He urged the community to answer with faith and prayer, stressing that compassion remained vital even in the face of such acts. Parish committee member Gina Marzelek said the congregation had never faced anything so horrendous and added that graves should remain untouched as consecrated sites. Wojciech Lapinski, the parish's health and safety coordinator, stated that fundraising efforts are underway to install CCTV and other security measures to protect the grounds. Bedfordshire Police confirmed that an investigation was in process. Inspector Vicky Stoughton said patrols have been stepped up and appealed to the public for any information. Climate activists were arrested after throwing red and black paint on Barcelona's Sagrada Familia Basilica on Sunday in a protest against the devastating summer forest fires that have swept across parts of Spain, according to the activist group Futuro Vegetal. In a statement shared online, the group shared that they threw colored paint on Sagrada Familia to protest what they see as government failure to prevent the wildfires that have badly affected the region this summer. Climate activists from the group Futuro Vegetal stained red and black paint on Barcelona's Sagrada Familia Basilica on Sunday, August 31st, protesting the devastating summer forest fires that have swept across parts of Spain. A video shared by the group on social media shows police arresting two protesters as they called out for climate justice. Security guards swiftly intervened to stop the activists, and local police filed a report accusing them of defacing a monument. The Mossos de Esquerda have also launched an investigation into the incident. The Sagrada Familia Basilica, designed by Catalan architect Antoni Gaudi, is one of Barcelona's main tourist attractions. In a statement shared online, the group shared that they are throwing colored powder at the facade of the Sagrada Familia to denounce the complicity of various governments in the wildfires that have ravaged the peninsula this summer. Futuro Vegetal alleges that the Spanish government has taken insufficient action on climate change, particularly in addressing the recent wave of destructive wildfires. According to the European Forest Fire Information System, the fires have claimed 4 lives and scorched approximately 350,000 hectares of land in just past 2 weeks. The Spanish government described the wildfires as one of the biggest environmental catastrophes the country has faced in recent years, acknowledging their connection to climate change. A major heat wave that swept across Europe this summer intensified wildfire activity in several countries, with Greece, France, Portugal and Turkey alongside Spain battling severe blazes. Christians worldwide marked Creation Day on September 1st with prayer and reflection. Pope Leo XIV continued the tradition of his predecessor Pope Francis, urging believers to care for creation as a gift of God. He highlighted this year's theme, Seeds of Peace and Hope, and introduced a new Mass for the care of creation to deepen Catholic liturgical participation. Christians around the world celebrated September 1st as Creation Day, the annual observance dedicated to honoring God as creator and committing to care for the environment. Vatican News reported that Pope Leo XIV highlighted the tradition during the Sunday Angelus, noting that Pope Francis instituted it for the Catholics in 2015. The Holy Father emphasized that praying for our global home is more urgent than ever, urging believers to take renewed responsibility for protecting the earth. He noted that the celebration extends into a season of celebration, which concludes with the feast of Saint Francis of Assisi on October 4th. The commemoration began with an Orthodox initiative in 1989, building on a 5th century liturgical tradition. It has since become an ecumenical event embraced by most Christian churches, with the World Council of Churches coordinating global efforts. This year's theme, Seeds of Peace and Hope, was chosen to mark the 10th anniversary of Pope Francis's encyclical Laudato Si. Pope Leo XIV remarked that environmental justice is a duty of faith, since creation reflects the face of Christ. The new Mass for the Care of Creation formulary now allows Catholic communities worldwide to mark the day liturgically for the first time. Time magazine named Pope Leo XIV as one of the world's most influential people in artificial intelligence for 2025, highlighting his commitment to addressing the ethical implications of the rapidly advancing technology. The list features 100 global figures shaping the future of AI, divided into 4 categories: leaders, innovators, shapers, and thinkers. Time magazine has included Pope Leo XIV in its 2025 list of the world's most influential people in artificial intelligence. On August 28th, the magazine listed the 100 names in 4 categories: leaders, innovators, shapers, and thinkers. According to Time, Pope Leo XIV is among the 25 most influential thinkers in the field and called him a spiritual counterweight. The magazine noted, quote, "Upon assuming the papacy in May, Pope Leo XIV told the world that as artificial intelligence ushered in a new industrial revolution, the technology would require the defense of human dignity, justice, and labor," end quote. In a conference on artificial intelligence, ethics, and corporate governance held at the Vatican in June, Pope Leo XIV's keynote speech underlined AI's potential as a force for good. However, he also expressed concerns about its possible repercussions on humanity's openness to truth and beauty, and a man's ability to grasp and process reality. The Holy Father also warned that the technology could be misused for selfish gain at the expense of others, or worse, to foment conflict and aggression. Other figures on Time's list include ex-AI founder Elon Musk, Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, Senator Marsha Blackburn, and Senator Chris Murphy. This is the 3rd annual list published by Time, focusing on the most influential people in AI. Belgium plans to recognize Palestinian sovereignty at the upcoming UN General Assembly, with Foreign Minister Maxime Prevot also warning of sanctions on Israel if alleged violations in Gaza continue. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump argued that Israel is losing global support despite military gains, even as he endorsed Israel's Operation Gideon Chariot as a necessary campaign. Belgium has joined the growing list of European states considering recognition of Palestinian sovereignty. Foreign Affairs Minister Maxime Prevot announced that Belgian representatives will raise the issue at the upcoming United Nations General Assembly, scheduled for later this month. Prevot stated that Belgium intends to recognize Palestine and may impose sanctions on Israel unless its military ceases actions viewed as genocidal in Gaza. He emphasized that the initiative is not directed against the Israeli people but aims to ensure adherence to international humanitarian law. Furthermore, Prevot affirmed that his government will oppose anti-Semitism and penalize any glorification of Hamas terrorism. In parallel, US President Donald Trump expressed controversial views during an interview with the Daily Caller. While acknowledging Israel's military advances in Gaza, Trump argued that the country is rapidly losing international and domestic support, citing polling only 23% 90% of Americans back Israel's military operations. He criticized Israel's handling of global public opinion, describing it as a public relations failure. Nevertheless, Trump endorsed Operation Gideon Chariot, an Israeli initiative to secure control of Gaza, calling it a necessity. He further insisted that Israel must complete its objectives and predicted that Hamas would release remaining hostages only if the organization were entirely destroyed. The Quebec government, through secularism minister Jean-Francois Roboch, announced plans to introduce legislation this fall banning prayers in public spaces as part of strengthening state secularism, motivated by the rise in Islamic street prayers during pro-Palestine protests, including incidents of Muslim men performing Salah in front of Montreal's Notre Dame Basilica.
The Quebec government has announced its plan to ban prayer in public spaces as part of its effort to strengthen the separation of religion from the state in the region. In a decision that has been decreed by Islamic groups, the province's secularism minister stated that the move was motivated by a marked increase in Islamic prayers being held in public spaces, particularly pointing to a group of Muslim men performing Salah and Islamic prayer in front of Montreal Notre Dame Basilica during a protest in support of Palestine held nearby. Speaking at the press conference, Robert emphasized the government is dealing with a sensitive issue and added the cabinet intends to introduce the bill in the fall. The proposed legislation, which will override certain sections in Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms, is expected to be introduced in Parliament by the end of September. Sources also indicated that the bill was drafted as part of implementing measures proposed by an independent commission to strengthen secularism in the province. In 2023, Quebec drew significant attention of passing Bill 93, a law that prohibits the wearing of religious symbols such as hijab in public. Following the government's announcement, various Muslim groups voiced strong opposition to the proposed measure. Stephen Brown, CEO of the National Council of Canadian Muslims, condemned the legislation as detrimental to the fundamental rights of Muslims. International Desk, Shekinah News.
Italian tenor Andrea Bocelli and American songwriter Pharrell Williams are set to co-direct a special concert titled Grace for the World, featuring performances by artists such as John Legend, Teddy Swims, Jelly Roll, and Karol G, among others. The event will serve as a finale of the third edition of the World Meeting on Human Fraternity, taking place on September 13th. Open to public and free of charge, the concert will also feature a drone light show and talks on key global issues including peace, justice, food, freedom, and humanity.
Italy's world-famous tenor and devout Catholic Andrea Bocelli and American songwriter Pharrell Williams will co-direct a free concert, Grace for the World, in St. Peter's Square in September 13th. The event will mark the closing of the Third World Meeting on Human Fraternity and the celebration of the 2025 Jubilee year. Cardinal Mauro Gambetti, OFM, one of the organizers of the event, stated in a press release, on the evening of September 13th, fraternity will take center stage, expressed through the universal language of music and the stories of those who have made it a life choice. The concert will be streamed worldwide on Disney+, Hulu, and ABC News Live. Pharrell Williams will perform the Voice of Fire gospel choir. Other performers include Colombian superstar Karol G. John Legend, Teddy Swims, Jelly Roll, and acclaimed African vocalist Angelique Kidjo. The concert will also feature a spectacular aerial drone and light show featuring imagery inspired by the Sistine Chapel and reflections from world leaders in culture, diplomacy, and sports. The World Meeting on Human Fraternity 2025 will start a meeting with Pope Leo XIV on September 12. The program will focus on topics including artificial intelligence, education, economics, literature, children health, and the environment. International Desk, Shekinah News.
The Catholic charismatic community, Cologne Few, celebrated its Golden Jubilee with a series of vibrant spiritual activities and commemorative events. A key highlight was a prophetic intercession training program held from August 25th to 29th, which brought together 931 participants from across Cameroon. One of the most significant moments of the celebration was a Jericho prayer march, which drew a crowd of over 3,000 faithful. The Catholic charismatic community, Cologne Few, commemorated its Golden Jubilee with a series of vibrant celebrations and spiritual activities marking 50 years of unity, faith, and remarkable achievements. The week-long Jubilee celebrations highlighted the community's historical milestones and honored its collective journey over the past 5 decades. As part of the commemorative events, a prophetic intercession training program was held from August 25-29, 2025. Bringing together 931 participants from across Cameroon. The training was organized in Yaoundé and featured prominent church leaders and spiritual guides. Leonard Nall, General Moderator of Cologne Few, invited Archbishop Francis Callist, Archbishop of Pondicherry and Cuddalore, who is also the National Episcopal Advisor to NCCRS, and Chevalier Cyril John, representative of Asia and Oceania of Charis International, to serve as resource persons for the formative program.
I think it was a very meaningful celebration because we had a formation for prophetic intercession with about 913 participants from all over the country.
The inaugural Eucharistic celebration was presided over by Archbishop Jean Mabarga, Archbishop of Yaoundé. On subsequent days, Bishop Marcelin Mary of the Bishop of Batauri and Bishop Justin Georges Ubinji of Yakaduma led the Eucharistic celebrations. Also in attendance was Mr. Alphonse Bertin Fancup, the Charis National Coordinator and representative of Charis Africa Continental Service of Communion, who actively participated in all the training sessions. A significant moment of the week was the Jericho Prayer March held on August 28th, where participants actively prayed for peace and divine guidance ahead of Cameroon's upcoming presidential elections.
This is a charismatic community which has been serving the church in a very spirited way.
Later that same day, Archbishop Francis Callist presided over a major outreach event at the Basilica of Our Lady of Union of the Apostles in Yaoundé, drawing a crowd of over 3,000 faithful. The Jubilee celebrations concluded on August 29th with a solemn Eucharistic adoration, during which members of the Cologne Few community renewed their spiritual commitment, reaffirming their dedication to the mission and values that have guided them over the past 50 years. In Ukraine's war-hit Kharkiv, children have returned to physical classrooms for the first time in more than 3 years. With Russian attacks continuing, over 17,000 students are beginning lessons in newly built underground schools. Officials say these secure facilities, some located 3 floors below ground, offer safety and a chance of normalcy while the conflict continues.
More than 17,000 children in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, returned to underground classrooms on September 1st, Reuters reported. It was the first time in over 3 years that many families sent children to physical schools after the full-scale invasion by Russia disrupted traditional education. 7 underground learning centers are currently operational, with additional sites under development. Parents describe the move as essential for both safety and regular learning. A mother from northern Satvika said her child's new school was 3 floors below ground, which reassured families. She added that even without hope for immediate peace, parents saw the normalcy of in-person schooling. Officials confirmed that 6 stations from Kharkiv metro system had been converted into classrooms. Kharkiv Mayor Ihor Terko announced that 3 more underground sites would be opened early next year. One facility already hosts about 1,500 students, with that considered a crucial safety feature. Teachers guided students strictly inside on the opening day, while students appear calm and focused. A 6-year-old girl expressed excitement about her first day of school, explaining that she had missed kindergarten due to war. Authorities emphasized the underground educational facilities were a step toward restoring daily life despite ongoing conflict near the border. International Desk, Shekinah News.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.